So for the last 4 or 5 years, I've either shot an elk, a deer, or a bear. But on this year's hunting trip, I'm actually figuring out I'm not actually that good a bow hunter. I've just been incredibly lucky. Remember, this isn't a video about how to be successful. If you're looking for tips on how to be successful, the internet is full of people who will show you how easy it is to find and shoot animals. This video is quite the opposite. One of the most important things is how to be unprepared. Being unprepared is as important as it gets. Things like having to go to the bathroom are key to finding animals, preferably having to poop. Because anytime you have to go to the bathroom, or if you take your release off, if you set your bow down, these are all really great ways to have animals come into your stand. I can't stress enough how important it is to be unprepared. So while we're on the subject of being unprepared, here's another tip. Don't knock an arrow. Knocking an arrow indicates danger. Animals pick up on that and won't come in. So if you really feel the need to knock an arrow, knock one with a practice tip or a judo tip like this, something for birds. That way the hunters around you who you walked into, who you don't realize are there, when they look at you, they'll be like, oh wow, that guy's a pretty serious hunter. That way you won't get laughed at, but for sure you won't be indicating any danger to the animals around you. Another good tip is to leave your phone on, don't put it on vibrate. Leave it at the same volume it was when your alarm went off at 5 o'clock in the morning, which is 3 hours earlier than you normally get up. Make sure that it's on as loud as possible so that when your buddy texts you, everybody within a mile knows that your phone went off. Well, I was in the middle of giving this important tip about how to lose your game cam by not marking it on your GPS and making sure you get it in the fog. One of the tips that I gave you earlier just came to fruition while I am in the middle of giving this tip. My jacket's undone, I don't have my bow, my hat is backwards, totally unprepared. The first legal buck that I've seen in 6 days was literally 45 yards right there on top of the hill. So I can't stress enough being wildly unprepared. Look at me, I look ridiculous. And he knew that. And he felt like it was his job to definitely make me feel stupid, which he did an amazing job at. Dude, you gotta be kidding me. We all make silly mistakes, but I just realized something. It's unbelievably foggy out right now, and I'm wearing binoculars. This is a sign of total preparation, being ready for something, and obviously that's why I'm not seeing anything. So I gotta take these guys off so that I'm ready to, now I'm back to being unprepared again. So now we'll start seeing some animals. Let's go. Also, always remember to listen to the worst possible music. Songs that you don't know the words to. So when you're hiking up these ridges, you can have terrible songs stuck in your head all morning. I said, hey, what can I say? I'm just a badass man. And that's all the words I know. So I've been singing it over and over again all morning. Honestly, it's pissing me off. So here's a good exercise tip. If wandering around the woods aimlessly for days doesn't burn the calories you're looking for, this definitely will. And that is, hike as fast as possible. Really break into a good sweat. What you want is, this works even better when it's below, say, 20 degrees. What you want is, when you sit down for that evening hunt, to be unfathomably cold. Shivering is a great way to get exercise. It also makes it so that you can't feel your fingers, which is good because that leads to those extra misses. Everybody sits around the campfire and tells stories about those misses. You want to make sure you're included in story time. So get yourself nice and cold, make sure you can't feel your fingers or your toes, and then just start letting those arrows fly. So the next tip is, when the forecast calls for snow, make sure you forget your jacket in the tent. Preferably wear 2 cotton sweatshirts like these. They absorb water really well. You'll get cold, you get really wet, which will subsequently lower morale, which appears to be the entire point of bow hunting. The next tip for getting lost is make sure when you go back at night and your GPS has dead batteries, make sure you don't replace them right away. Give yourself time to forget, you know. You want to surprise yourself. You don't want to realize you don't have batteries and don't know where you are until you have been in the snow for an hour and you're soaking wet and you're tired and you climbed 800 feet up a ridge that your Jeep isn't on. When you're done fooling around and you finally find your Jeep, this just reminded me of another good tip. Make sure you follow other people into their hunting spots so you can hunt together and make as much noise as possible. Clearly, this gentleman felt, or gentlewoman, I don't want to offend women who suck at hunting too. Clearly, this gentleman felt like his best chance of success was coming in an hour after me and quite literally following my footsteps down the ridge until we bumped into each other, because he wanted to say hello and ask what I'd seen. The answer is nothing, because you're here. The best tip I can give you is, no matter how wet, tired, sore, grumpy you are, no matter how low morale gets, be happy, enjoy life. It's too short to not enjoy. Plus, it's better to be lucky than good.